Hi everyone, I am Pravalika, working as assistant professor in CSD department in St. Martin's Engineering College. Today I am going to discuss about the design thinking topic, and that is, so in the design thinking we have so many process. Actually, what is design thinking? Design thinking is based on the customer requirements. Who is designing the product about the customer requirements, and it has so many phases. In that we are discussing about the ideation process. In that ideation process we have so many steps. In that, first is a preparation step. Preparation is nothing but what the requirements are taking from the customer, and that requirements will be in a step wise. And second is in a divergent thinking. This divergent thinking is a wide range of ideas. Wide range of ideas means we can collect the so many ideas from the customer, as well as we can pick it up the important idea to which we want to develop those idea. So in this we have the brainstorming and mind mapping, scamper techniques, and role playing. In the brainstorming we have a leader who is taking those ideas from the team members. That idea will be collected by the team member, and whereas a mind mapping, these complete ideas will be taken by the brainstorming member, and these complete ideas will be involved in the mind. And here the scamper technique is nothing but it has a shortcut. It has a shortcut in a scamper technique that will be uh, a substitute as scamper technique. Here it is a substitute, and it is a combine, and it is a adapt, it is a modify, and it is P for put to another, E for eliminate, R for repeat. Okay, here in the scamper technique, for example, we are taking the one example that is a for example, we are taking one example from the customers. The customers will be have so many requirements. That requirements will be collected by the designer. That in the requirements, that scamper is substitute the requirement with another requirement. For example, we are collecting one requirement that will be substitute by the another requirement or another idea, whereas a combine, it has a combination of two or more requirements. And whereas the adapt, we have to adapt for those requirement. In the modify, if we want to modify one more requirement with another requirement, we can modify that requirement based on the customer requirement. In the put to another, these requirements completely will be gathered by the team leader. That one requirement may be customized, and one or else one required may be take it from the another customers, and that both requirements will be combined together, and it placed in the brainstorming person in the organization. Whereas eliminate, which is unwanted the requirements or will be presented in the which is unwanted thing will be presented in the requirements, that will be eliminated by the designer. And whereas these eliminations, and if we want to repeat these things, so we can collect these requirements, and we can take the feedback from the customer, and we can repeat this process until we can get the successful product. And next, role playing. Here the brainstorming person or leader who are playing a important role to collect the requirements from the customer, and it can be given to the organization to developing process. Whereas a convergent thinking, it is a narrow down and refine the ideas. So in this we have the affinity mapping, dot voting, and feasibility and impact matrix. In the affinity mapping, we can collect the hundreds of ideas from the customer, and these can ideas, by these ideas we can take the one essential idea to develop our product. So that is a taking the essential idea is a dot voting and feasibility impact matrix. In the customer requirements, we have to encourage the customers to solve those problems with those mindset. The customer having the different customers having the different mindset, so we can collect the mindsets from the customer, and we can rectify the problems which having the customer. So next, developing concept, elaborate and the best ideas. So here whatever requirements we are taking the from taking the customers, so that ideas will be taken by the storyboarding members, and these ideas will be selected by the brainstorming persons, and as well as it can be explained to the manager or else organization with a clear storyboarding. So in the prototype, we are presenting the requirements to the organization. It may be in a digital way or else it may be in a paper presentation. Now, whereas a role playing in scenario analysis, so here the customer is giving a requirements to the, here the customer giving the requirements to the designer. So for example, he have to invest the coffee shop. So okay, so for coffee shop, he is giving one idea to designer. Here he is a customer, he is giving the one idea to designer, and designer is saying that to organization. Okay, so here the customers think that the organization is the main persons to customer. So the customer directly go to the organization, and he will say the requirements to the organization, and these requirements will be said by the customers, but these organization will say to the these requirements to the designer, whereas the customers think that the here organization is a important thing what the customer is saying to the organization, but whereas the designer will have that capability to design the product to the customer requirements. So here customer thinks that organization is the first person, the organization is also thinks that we have to deliver our project to the customer. So but mainly here designer is playing the key role here between the customer and organization, but whereas customers think that organization is the first person to develop those products. For these complete conversation, the designer will take the interviews from the customers and take the points from the customers and take the needs from the customers, and for to taking these requirements from the customer, the designer will conduct the interviews from the customers. So these complete process will be in a source to organization and designer and organization. So the customer, here source is the customer and designer is the mediator and organization is the final stage. So customer will think that the organization will final stage, but whereas in between source to destination, the designer is the mediator here. And here, so we are completely have the point about this source to destination relation between source to destination relation will be done by the designer only. So here, so the designer, what the designer will do, designer can collect the ideas from the customers, and these ideas will be said by the designer to the organization. Okay, so whereas here final selection and planning will be chosen by the best ideas. Okay, here road mapping is nothing but just now we discussed that from the source to destination we have the so many plans and so many paths to reach the source to destination. So how you are reaching from source to destination, it means how you are taking the customer requirements and how you are producing the project to the organization. So that is the road mapping. Stakeholder is nothing but, so for just now we took that example for coffee shopping. Okay, in the coffee shop, In the coffee shop, we are first, when we want to develop or put a coffee shop in the market, so we want to plan about it first thing. So what is it? We want a place and we want the investment and developing criteria and tasting of those coffee. So these things will be happen in the coffee shop development. Okay, so that coffee shop development will be starts from the customer. Okay, first we want the place for the coffee shop to customer, and we need to provide the arrangements from the uh, organization to uh, organization to the customers. Okay, and organization to the customers. For that, we can collect ideas where we want to put a coffee shop. The place, location is important, one thing, and second thing is taste of coffee is important to attract the customers. So second point, and third point is the price of the coffee shop. The price of the coffee is important. 4 points we need to uh, take it in our mind, first things. Okay, so these 4 points: first, cost, taste, place, investment, finally product. Okay, so first, how we are attracting the customer? First thing, we can attract our customers with a taste. If we provide the coffee to the customer, if it is a tasty, then the customer will attract. And then what place where you are putting your coffee shop, the place is also important. Whereas a cost, if the cost is less, then the customer is also always willing to buy your coffee to taste it. So we have to take these points in our mind to final implementation. Okay, so second one, implementation and follow up, turn our ideas into reality. Till now we have only ideas, and now we need to do that particular coffee shop in the market. So for that, we have an action plan and monitor progress and continuous feedback. If I am providing a coffee to the customer, if the customer is satisfied with those coffee, then automatically customer will comes to your coffee shop and he will taste that coffee. And whereas the feedback, these continuous feedback, we can say that is a iteration. So that is a iteration. So we have to take the feedback continuously, because when we are taking the feedback continuously from the customer, we have a chance to rectify our mistakes. It means that if the sugar is more than the requirements of a customer, then when we took the feedback from the customer, so we can make the coffee with less sugar. Like that, we are providing the customers or coffee. Okay, and next, SIT. In the SIT, it's a systematic inventive thinking. It means that it is a structured approach which we are giving to the customer. Okay, which we are giving to the customer, so that in the systematic inventing thinking, we have the process in a step by step, which is first one, which is second one, which is third one. Just now we took that coffee shop example. Now in that we discussed about these things. Okay, so first in that we took that first one is coffee shop matter, and then taste and progress, cost, all these are efficient to take this. So these all steps will be done by a sequence manner or else a random way. Okay, so sequence manner or else in a random way. So we can collect these things in a particular page like prototype. So prototype is nothing but digital view or else paper presentation. So we can collect these things will be present in a paper or else a digital presentation. So when we are taking these things, we have an idea how to start our business of a coffee shop. So In these systematic inventive thinking, we have to take these all these things in a step by step. So all these things in a step by step. These here, so it have a 5 steps that thinkers work within a familiar world. So whereas a designer, we want to invest that a coffee shop. So first we need to think from the customer side, not the business side. So customer, what the customer wants and how they like the environment and all these things, we have to consider it. And when the following these 5 methods are nothing but subtraction, multiplication, division and stack unification, attribute dependency. In the subtraction, if we want to add more features to coffee, for example, we took that example, no? Coffee shop. If we want to add more coffees like a ginger coffee and so coffees, so we want to add it, we can add. In the subtraction place, if we want to remove one place, coffee from our coffee shop, we can remove it and replace it with the help of subtraction. Whereas a multiplication, we can add the more and more flavors to the coffee. In the division, we can put important things first and we can split it that coffee with different prices. Okay. In the task unification, how we are giving these coffee flavors to sequential manner. For example, we have so many kinds of coffees in our coffee shop. Okay, so how we are providing those coffees to customer? One list, we can maintain one list, one coffee for one price, one coffee for one price. If we keep the prices like that, then only the customer can understand easily and he can pick it up which coffee he wants. Okay, that is the business criteria how we are presenting. Okay, in the attribute dependency, what attributes we are using? For example, for coffee, we want a sugar, coffee powder, milk, water, etc., etc. Okay, so what attributes we are adding in that coffee? In the 4th step, we have a task unification. Task unification is nothing but we can gather our views like for example, we took that example as coffee. Now coffee cost, taste, price and materials what we are using, and for each and every coffee have a different prices and different coffees. Coffee, some ginger coffee, so coffee sugarless, so and so coffees, or different kinds of coffees are there and different kinds of prices. If we are giving like this scenario in the manual, so that customer can easily pick it up the first what the customer interested in that. So that is a task unification. And next, in the task unification, we can collect these things in a one page. Okay. Next, last one is conducting the feedback from the customer. So what the customer wants to taste the coffee, that coffee can be selected by the customer and that coffee can be tasted by the customer. And these SIT will be maintain the things what the customer requirements is in a complete sessions. Okay, attribute dependency is nothing but the attributes which we are including in the customer's coffee list. So in this we have the integrating SIT into design thinking is nothing but it has a 7 steps. That is 1, empathize and define, ideate, prototyping and test. So these complete 5 steps we have to delivered. For example, in the empathize, we are taking the customer requirements and by that requirements by the taking the interviews from the customers. And next, Define is nothing but what requirements we are taking from the customer. That requirements will be defined by the designer, or that will be researched by the designer from the internet or books, whatever it is. And next, ideate is nothing but we are applying the techniques for the developing our product by the customer's requirements. And prototype, this will be digital prototype or else paper presentation of prototype. And the test, we are completely testing these 4 steps in together, whether the customer is satisfied by our product or not. We can test it. Here we can gather the feedback from the customer again and again till the customer is satisfied. Okay, here our certainty is taking the first, we are taking the requirements from the customer, and that research will be in a clumsy way, and finally when we are come to the concept, that will be in a linear way, and after that we are designing our product based on the customer requirements. We have a conclusion here. Okay, for the customer requirements. Now we are taking the innovation protocol here. For example, we are putting a plant together. So in that we are plant growth harvest. So for plant we are giving us water, materials to the plant, then only it will growth. Like that we are discovering, we have a discover, frame opportunity, incubate, ideate, evaluate, prototype, deliver, iterate. These things we have. These all things will be trying to grow, make our plant easy to grow. Okay, so we till now we are discussing about these complete things. Now we are going to discuss these concept on a video. So I will show that video to your point of view. So then only you can understand easily. So by this video. Now, so here the designer will take the requirements from the customers, and now we have a plan to explain about the design things. Okay, now we are taking the example about the supermarket. For the supermarket, what we want to take the customer requirements as a prototype manner, like a paper presentation. Here, what the customer told them. Now we are collecting the ideas about the customer requirements, and we can gather the information from so many members. And now the customers empathize, means we are taking the interviews from the customers. Okay, now these requirements will be developed as our point of view. Now, so for that we have so many ideas to develop our customer requirements. Here prototype is nothing but we can collect these requirements in a paper. We have to write it in a paper way. Next, we can take the interviews and we can communicate the customer. Then only we have the complete idea about those requirements, what the customer wants. And now, so these the customer communication will be used to develop our supermarket with the customer satisfaction only. If in the market we have the so many in the market we have so many stalls. So for how we are attracting for our supermarket from these so many stalls, that is important. So for that we have a different ideas about the supermarket. So for that we are taking the requirements and we can collect the competitors ideas also, and now we are implementing those supermarket with these competitors ideas, and we are additionally adding those ideas to our supermarket. For those are supermarket. So how that is important, how we are attracting the customers with our ideas, that is important. So, and for example, in the market we have so many supermarkets. So how we are differing that from those supermarkets with our own idea. So that is an important thing. Okay, that will be in advertising. So how we are advertising our product to in the market. So that is a important thing. So finally we can collect those ideas from the customers, and we are developing that ideas to satisfy the customer requirements. And we have the competitors view also. We will notify the competitor views, how the competitors will be going on in the society, so that we have to take those points also. So we can note it down those all points together, and we can implement our product to the customer's requirements. So main goal is that how, what, we, why we are taking those requirements. These things completely depend upon these three things. Okay, so these three things will be maintained by the designer. So why the customer wants the product, and what the customer's requirements, and how we are developing the product to the customer requirements. That is also one important thing. So in the last example, we took that supermarket example. Now in the supermarket example, how we are attracting the customers and how we are selling our products to the customer, that is important. That will be developed by the designer who are developing those design. And when always we are going to the supermarket, I think we always going to the supermarket, and always we are spending our money on the supermarkets. So how in that we are attracting, that is important. So in the supermarket, they are providing the offers to attract the customer first. That is a thing, first thing. And when we going to the supermarket, the children will attract those things whatever present in the supermarket. That is the second attraction of criteria and second idea of the attracting the customer. And next, billing counter. When we are paying the money, we need to think about it. Here the customer plays a three roles: buyers, sales, customers. Whereas the customer is nothing but who is going to buy, who wants to think about to buy the product, that is a customer. And buyer is nothing but who are going to pay the money, that is a buyer. And seller is nothing but who are attracting the customers by those product. That is one of the important thing in the this process. Okay, so for this complete process will be going on a loop process. For example, we are completely taking that thing in a loop process. First, source to destination. Like a source here is a customer. Source is customer, and he is taking those, he is giving ideas to the designer, and the designer can get the ideas from the organization. Organization will allocate the designers and a brainstorming member. For example, here customer is directly giving ideas to the organization. Organization will give these requirements to the brainstorming member, like example manager or leader. So these ideas will be given to the manager or leader. Leader can handle these designers and team members. Okay, these complete team members will be collected requirements from the customer by taking the interviews and communication. Every time they are communicate with the customers, always they are available to the customer. If any changes, if we completed the product of designing, if any changes occurs, if it is possible to change that thing, you can change, or else we have to convince the customer with our ideas. For example, 90% of requirements of customer is satisfied, but whereas a 10% will be our communication matters. Here we need to convince the customer with our communications to customers. So it is completed with 100%. Okay, the customer will not satisfied with 100%, but we need to convince the customer whatever requirements the customer is given, we completely produce those things to the customer. Okay, these complete things will be going on a loop way: customer, designer, organization, manager, again designer, and a customer. So here the customer plays a key role. What the customer thinks, the organization only provide these things, but the customer don't know these complete process, whatever going in on a customer sessions, that the customer don't know these things. So Here, source to destination, like a customer's requirements to product delivered. Okay, so here customer is not final member. The customer is a not final member. He is a taken the is product by the stockholder. So stockholder only introduce this product to the market. So that is a important thing. So what the organization thinks, the customer is final to R. What the customer thinks, organization is final to us. But here the designer plays a key role. Here the stockholder plays a key role. Okay. So this complete loop will be happen every time. By finally the customer satisfaction is important. Okay. So these things will be happen in the complete things. Okay. So I think we completed this session, and I think we all of you understood these complete topics. Thank you for everyone.